She was only 9 years old, a little girl with pink sneakers, a love for music, and a smile that could brighten anyone's day. But one October evening in a quiet Missouri town, Elizabeth Olten didn't come home. Her mother called her name from the porch, her voice echoing through the fading light, but there was only silence. Hours later, the community would launch a desperate search, flashlights cutting through the dark woods. And hidden beneath those leaves and dirt lay a secret that would shatter their peace forever. When investigators uncovered the truth, it wasn't a stranger, nor a drifter, nor a monster from the shadows. It was someone Elizabeth trusted, someone barely older than her. A 15-year-old neighbor named Alyssa Bustamante, a girl who journaled about darkness, obsession, and death. A girl who, when questioned, smiled and admitted to doing the unthinkable. This is the haunting story of innocence betrayed, of a childhood cut short, and of a teenage killer whose motives still chill the world to this day. Elizabeth Olten was born on December 15, 1999, in Jefferson City, Missouri. She grew up in a loving, tight-knit family, the kind of home where birthdays were celebrated loudly, hugs were plentiful, and laughter came easy. Elizabeth was the youngest of 3 children. Her family often described her as a little ball of sunshine. She adored pink, loved baking cookies with her mom, and spent afternoons playing with her best friends from the neighborhood. She was in the 4th grade at Pioneer Trail Elementary School, a good student who enjoyed choir and dreamed of becoming a singer someday. Her teachers remembered her as bright, polite, and always eager to help others. Elizabeth's kindness was effortless. She was the kind of child who left drawings on the fridge, notes for her mom, and hugs for her dad before bed. Her older sister, who often helped her with homework, later said, "Lizzie never wanted to hurt anyone. She just wanted everyone to be happy." In many ways, Elizabeth's childhood represented everything pure and simple about small-town America. Safe neighborhoods, familiar faces, and kids playing outside until the streetlights came on. That's what made her disappearance so terrifying. Because in a place like St. Martin's, Missouri, crime was rare. And no one, absolutely no one, could have imagined that danger was lurking just down the street. Alyssa Bustamante, the neighbor girl who often played nearby, was known to Elizabeth's family. She seemed quiet, sometimes moody, but polite enough. No one saw her as a threat, just another teen going through the usual struggles. But Alyssa was not like other teens. Behind her pale blue eyes and reserved demeanor was a darkness that had been festering for years. And soon, Elizabeth's innocent world would collide with it in the most tragic way imaginable. It was Thursday, October 21, 2009, an ordinary fall evening in Missouri. The air was crisp, the sun was sinking behind the trees, and children were finishing their homework before dinner. Around 5 p.m., Elizabeth asked her mom if she could walk down the street to play with a friend, Alyssa's younger sister. Her mother agreed, but told her to come home before dark. It was less than a 5-minute walk. Elizabeth slipped on her pink sneakers, smiled, and said, "I'll be back soon." That was the last time her mother saw her alive. When Elizabeth didn't return by sunset, her family grew uneasy. They called her name, knocked on neighbors' doors, and phoned her friends. But no one had seen her since she left. By nightfall, panic set in. Police were called. Volunteers began searching the woods and nearby fields. Flashlights flickered across the dark landscape. Parents clutched their children tighter. And just down the street, standing among the searchers, was Alyssa Bustamante, the teenager who knew exactly where Elizabeth was. Hours earlier, Alyssa had lured Elizabeth into the woods. What happened next would reveal a disturbing truth about the mind of a young girl lost in her own darkness. The search for Elizabeth continued through the night and into the next day. Posters went up. News crews arrived. The small community was desperate for answers. Investigators quickly learned that Elizabeth's last known location was near the Bustamante home. When they interviewed Alyssa, she appeared calm, even helpful. She told officers she'd seen Elizabeth the day before, but hadn't spoken to her that evening. Something about her story didn't sit right. Detectives noticed Alyssa seemed detached, almost rehearsed. The next day, investigators brought in cadaver dogs. They searched the wooded area behind Alyssa's home, the same place she often went to be alone. It didn't take long before they discovered disturbed soil, 2 small holes covered in leaves. At first, they looked like shallow animal burrows, but one of them was empty, freshly dug. When questioned again, Alyssa's calm demeanor cracked. Under pressure, she finally led investigators deeper into the woods. There, beneath the fallen leaves and dirt, they found Elizabeth's body. She had been strangled, her throat slashed. Her pink sneakers were still on her feet. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community. A town that had always felt safe now found itself face to face with something incomprehensible: a child killing another child. Detectives were stunned. A 15-year-old girl had committed a brutal murder, and they needed to know why. They brought Alyssa Bustamante to the station. Sitting across from her, investigators expected tears or remorse. Instead, they found a girl who was eerily composed. She answered questions calmly, even casually, as if discussing something mundane. When asked why she killed Elizabeth, Alyssa first said, "I don't know. I just wanted to know what it felt like." That chilling statement would later become one of the most haunting lines in true crime history. As investigators dug deeper, they began piecing together Alyssa's past. She had grown up in a deeply troubled environment. Her mother was addicted to drugs, her father was in prison, and she had been raised mostly by her grandparents. From the outside, her life seemed stable. She attended church, earned decent grades, and had friends. But underneath, she was unraveling. Alyssa had a history of depression, self-harm, and suicidal thoughts. Her classmates recalled her fascination with death. She often talked about killing herself or others in a joking way that made people uneasy. Detectives obtained her journal, and inside, they found the darkest window into her mind. One chilling entry, written the night of the murder, read, "I just killed someone. I held them and killed them. Now I know how it feels. It was amazing. As soon as you get over the 'oh my God, I can't do this,' it's pretty enjoyable." She ended the entry with one final word: "Haha." That journal entry became the key piece of evidence, and a glimpse into the psyche of a teenager consumed by morbid curiosity. Forensic analysis confirmed the evidence. Alyssa's fingerprints, blood traces, and the shovel used to bury Elizabeth were all found near her home. Her grandparents were devastated. Her church community was in disbelief. No one could comprehend how a teenage girl, raised in their midst, could harbor such darkness. When investigators asked what motivated her, Alyssa reportedly said she was curious about killing. Psychological evaluations later revealed that Alyssa suffered from major depression and possible borderline personality traits. She was medicated for mood disorders and had a history of suicide attempts, yet she had planned this murder with chilling precision. Days before the killing, she dug 2 graves behind her house. Then she chose Elizabeth, her neighbor's child, as her victim. Alyssa later confessed that she wanted to experience what it felt like to kill someone before she died herself. To many, it was beyond comprehension. A tragedy that blurred the lines between victim and perpetrator, between mental illness and pure evil. After Alyssa's confession, the case moved swiftly. There were no other suspects. All evidence pointed to her alone. Detectives replayed every detail of her confession: how she lured Elizabeth by asking for help with a surprise, how she strangled her with her bare hands, and how she buried her in the woods. Her lack of empathy stunned investigators. When asked what she thought about Elizabeth's family, Alyssa reportedly shrugged and said, "They'll get over it." Psychologists struggled to define her. Was she a sociopath? A deeply disturbed child? Both. Her journal, full of self-loathing, depression, and violent fantasies, provided no clear answers, only a portrait of chaos. The breakthrough moment came when investigators retrieved Alyssa's handwritten map of the burial site. It confirmed everything: the premeditation, the motive, and the calculated steps she took to carry it out. Prosecutors decided to charge Alyssa Bustamante as an adult, a decision that would ignite national debate. She was only 15, but her crime was so brutal, so deliberate, that Missouri law permitted the adult charge. The trial of Alyssa Bustamante began in 2012, 3 years after Elizabeth's murder. The courtroom was filled with reporters, family members, and locals still haunted by the case. The prosecution argued that Alyssa acted with cold-blooded intent. They read aloud her journal entry, making the entire courtroom gasp. Elizabeth's mother sobbed as the words echoed through the room. The defense, meanwhile, argued that Alyssa was mentally ill, a deeply depressed child on heavy medication who didn't fully understand her actions. In the end, Alyssa accepted a plea deal, admitting guilt to second-degree murder and armed criminal action. She was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years. As the verdict was read, Elizabeth's family wept quietly. Alyssa showed little emotion. Justice was served, but no sentence could bring back the little girl with pink shoes and a bright future. Elizabeth Olten's death left a permanent scar on the community of St. Martin's. Her family struggled to heal, holding on to her memory through candlelight vigils and memorials. Her story sparked national discussions about juvenile crime, mental health, and the age of criminal responsibility. Today, Elizabeth's memory lives on, not just as a victim, but as a reminder of how fragile innocence can be, and how darkness can hide even in familiar places. Neighbors still remember her laughter echoing through the streets, before it fell silent forever. Elizabeth Olten's story is one of innocence lost, of a family forever changed, and of a community forced to confront the unimaginable. It's a haunting reminder that evil doesn't always wear a mask. Sometimes it lives next door. If this case moved you, please take a moment to honor Elizabeth's memory by sharing this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more true crime documentaries told with care and respect. Until next time, stay safe, stay kind, and stay vigilant.